You need to know.
There are now 14 civil suits filed against Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson alleging sexual assault. The most recent filing came today with the accuser saying the alleged incident involving Watson happened in California. Watson's attorney has not responded to the most recent allegations, but did say last Friday that the claims are meritless. Now, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney told WYFF-TV that he was disappointed to see Watson's name in the news, but added that he loves him like a son and, quote, we'll just have to see where everything else goes from there, end quote. Quarterback Marcus Mariota will return to the Raiders after taking a pay cut for the upcoming season. The NFL Network says Mariota took him a more than $7 million pay cut as he agreed to a one-year deal worth $3.5 million. The NFL Network says with incentives, that contract could be worth up to $8 million. The Falcons and running back Mike Davis agreed to a two-year deal worth $5.5 million, while the Steelers released corner Steven Nelson, saying that saving the team more than $8 million again.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time for the Rundown with Rob Sanders.
Well, we're waiting.
Well, welcome into the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. I hold in my hand tons of stuff. Ready to get after it today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to reset the field. What I mean by that is that the Sweet 16 is set, and none of our brackets are worth a damn. So I'm going to try to look at this from a perspective of what we've seen in the tournament and how we can possibly fix that. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about what Coach Dabo Swinney said about Deshaun Watson. And, you know, I kind of want to lead off with that because as you heard at our top of the hour sports break there, update there, man, it's like you listen to this and you hear all of this stuff that's coming out about Deshaun Watson, and now it's up to 14 people are coming with allegations of, hey, this is what happened. Something happened with Deshaun Watson. Once again, we have to wait until things are sorted out. But it's interesting that when you really stop and look at it, if you have 14 people that are claiming that something happened, I'm not saying that it did. I'm just saying if you've had 14 experiences with a masseuse, how many masseuse do you need? Just saying. It's kind of interesting. The more and more people that come out. Once again, I wasn't in the room when it happened, but I tell you what, it just seems like there's just more and more and more piling on top of him. Now, there is the tinfoil hat theory, where the attorney that's starting this lives in the same neighborhood as some of the Texas brass, and they're putting this all together to keep Watson in Houston. Some of the response that I got online from the article that I posted, which, by the way, you can find that at Fox Sports Radio 1400, keyword Rob up top. It's also on the Facebook page as well. One lady said, hey, tell Watson to come back to Houston, but let him stop scrambling. Let him just play out his contract and go from there. I don't know how that's going to work out. I do want to play the comments from Coach Swinney and how his thoughts on Deshaun Watson. And you could tell last night, and the video, by the way, is in the blog post page the blog page post, there we go, that I put together. And you can see Sweeney's face just tighten up because he didn't want to hear about this, man. And I don't think any coach does, to be honest with you. Here's the comments from Coach Dabo Swinney.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, we're disappointed to see, his name in the news and all that's going on. But, look, hey, I love Deshaun Watson. He's like a son to me, and that's how I love him. And as far as all the legal stuff and all that, that'll all, take its course and all that stuff. So certainly can't, speculate or comment on any of that stuff. But all I can tell you is, I've known Deshaun since the 9th grade, and he's been nothing but exemplary in every area that I've ever known him in. 3 years here as a player, I think I had a chance to yell at him one time. He was 5 minutes late to a team meeting that he overslept for, and that's it. So, I mean, that's the Deshaun I know. And I can only, base my thoughts on my experiences with him, which have been, just wonderful. And again, I love him like a son.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you expected to hear from Coach Dabo Swinney. Put over the guy, talk about the stuff he did at Clemson, how he wasn't a problem there, and basically say, hey, we have to wait until we hear what happens. So I want to open up the phones today. And if you want to comment on the Deshaun Watson situation, we haven't really talked about it much. And I want to make sure that we don't, there's not going to be any victim shaming here. All right. If you're going to call up and tell me anything involving saying that you can question some of the things that have happened, but we're not going to be running our mouths about these women are insert horrible words here. We're not going to do that. But we will take your calls at 803-978-1832. Brock with a great point. It doesn't matter if he's innocent or guilty. His reputation has been damaged. You are absolutely right. Remember, coming out of Clemson, he had I don't want to use, I guess the term is the golden boy reputation. Loved by everybody. Dabo Swinney calling him Michael Jordan. And then now this comes out, and it's at a point where the more and more you look at it, I just look at it. The one thing that gets me is how many massage therapists do you need? I'm just saying there's 14 that are on the record now. Reports are they're up to 22. I don't know. But how many massage therapists do you need? I mean, that's kind of the one thing that's kind of alarming there. Now, I know some people are going to say some things like, okay, he's a premier athlete. Premier athletes need massage therapists all the time. Yeah, I agree with that. But I'm also in the camp of, if you're in Houston and you make the kind of money that Deshaun Watson makes, you can employ one person to be your massage therapist, and that's it. That's it. I mean, athletes hire personal chefs. They have one chef. It's the same thing with a massage therapist. You just hire them and say, look, when I need a massage, I expect you to be there. And that's part of your job. I think that's the way that's how I would do it. Maybe I'm not up on the whole massage game. I don't know. SEC Dog says, I don't watch the news, so I have no idea about Watson. Seems like a lot of people are talking about it, especially Clemson fans. He was called a predator today in one of the lawsuits that was released today, the 14th. He was actually called a predator. Now, why we're talking about this is because the status of Deshaun Watson, in addition to people that are in the Palmetto State that have a lot of respect for Deshaun Watson, but it's also big on the front with the NFL, where he's being investigated by the NFL to see if there's any violations of the personal conduct policy. If there is, then that could affect his ability to play. It also could affect his ability to be traded. And he wants to be traded. That's been the big story all summer. I'll say all summer. The bigger part of the fall. The bigger part of the winter. I'm getting my seasons messed up. But he wants to be traded. And we're at a point now where it's like his value has gone down. This all pays into Houston, by the way. Houston, yes, people can come to them with offers, but they're not going to be as good as they want. And you know what? Having him sit on the bench may not be a bad idea. Hey, you want to sit out because you want to get out of here? Fine. We got Tyrod Taylor. We'll run with that. We'll absolutely run with that. And if I'm the new Houston coach, see, I also have this mentality too when it comes to that. If you don't want to be here, get the hell out. That's how I feel about it. We're all on a boat. If I'm the coach, I'm the head captain, I'm all of that. You can only do one thing, and that is we're all going to row in the same direction. If you're not rowing in the same direction of where I want to go, then you can go somewhere else. Get me the most that I can for him, and we'll move on. That's how I feel about any situation, whether we're playing church league softball, we're bouncing balls for jacks, whatever. If you're not going to be completely on the team on any stretch of the amount or any stretch throughout what we're trying to do, I don't want you there. But now, just from a perspective of what they could get, I mean, think about this too. If they do trade him somewhere else, the public relations nightmare is going to be there. And I have another story here that will basically hammer that home. We'll get into that in just a second. But anywhere that he signs, there's going to be people that are going to be beating pots and pans and everything else outside. You can't have that guy. That guy was trying to get massage therapists to rub oil on his under region. We can't have that guy. That guy allegedly forced people to have oral sex with him. We can't have that guy. No. If you don't believe me, I hold in my hands the byproduct of the Les Miles saga. Yes, this came out at 1:00 today. Oregon State, their president, F. King Alexander, has resigned amid backlash related to his role in the sexual misconduct saga at LSU, where he previously served as president. So that goes right back into what SEC Dog is saying. Nowadays, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. I'm not saying he's innocent or guilty because I don't know. I'm just saying, yeah. But let's put it from this perspective. F. King Alexander left LSU. Okay? And he didn't molest anybody. But apparently under his leadership, people were had some sexual misconduct against them. And it followed him to another university. So it's already cost the athletics director at Kansas his job. And Les Miles should have been fired anyway. And to be honest, he never should have gotten hired at Kansas after the stuff that we know. But it's interesting in that if you do anything that is close to dealing with something that involves sexual misconduct now, they're going to throw you under the coals. And that's the way that it should be. But it is interesting, though, that with Watson, I think he's untradeable right now because no one else is going to want him. I think they'll give him not really a pass in Houston. There'll be people that'll be upset in Houston. But Houston could be, they could go on, hey, we drafted him. He's trying to make himself better, etc. if he's done something wrong. But for me, though, what SEC Dog said makes a lot of sense. You're guilty until you're proven innocent. We've had one statement from Deshaun Watson. Actually, two. One through himself and one through his attorney. His attorney said that they're all meritless. That's the quote. Watson, of course, denied it on Twitter right after it happened. There's not anymore the question of, in our society, did you do something or did you didn't? It comes down to your reputation is tarnished. And that's it. And I use this as an example, and it makes a lot of people angry. And I'm not trying to make you angry today, but, remember Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson was never convicted of sexual assault. The reason he was never convicted of sexual assault is because he bought his way out of the cases. He settled out of court. Okay? Now the mentality comes to this. Would you let your kid hang out with Michael Jackson? Wouldn't let my kids anywhere near Michael Jackson. It's kind of the same thing with Deshaun Watson. Even if he's able to clear all of this up, it comes back to this. Is he going to be the guy? I remember the year that he messed up his knee. He had some young people that met him in the locker room and he gave them shoes and all of this stuff. Yeah, that he's not going to have that anymore. Will he get paid to play? Yeah. But as far as being on Wheaties boxes and serving up shoes and everything else, yeah, it's not working out for him. 803-978-1832. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob, it's Ray.
Ray, what's up?
I hold the best for Deshaun Watson. I pray for that whole situation. But I was just going to say, don't you know he's glad he didn't have his contract tore up there in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how the whole contract situation works. I don't know if, I mean, he's under the 4-year contract, so the question is that they can. I think there's there should be something in that contract where they can void it if they need to. But as of right now, even if it comes out and he has to give these women money, he's not going to jail. I mean, that's something else too.
I hope not, but
they're all civil cases. They're all civil cases, so they're not going to jail.
Well, I thought I heard that one of the attorneys has turned it over to the prosecutor or whatever. I thought I heard that this morning. But anyway, I hope for the best, but then again, I go back to where it wasn't 3 or 4 weeks ago. He was. I hate to say being a crybaby, but I'm sorry, but that's he signed that contract, and now he's glad he didn't. He's glad he still has that contract. But Rob, that's kind of what I got to say, buddy. But thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us on the rundown. 803-978-1832. There was a section of people, and they were in the very minority that were upset that, hey, you just signed this contract in September. Why are you wanting to leave now? And I know there's the whole adage of, yeah, he had to sign it, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But with that, and if that leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and then you have this, the public opinion of Deshaun Watson has taken a major, major league hit. Tom says 13 women now. I think it's 14, buddy, from the latest reports from ESPN. So, yeah, there's that. He's also holding my feet to the fire about Alabama. Yes, I'm with you. We're going to reset the tournament field. And I will apologize for saying stupid things about Alabama. I should have listened to Kevin Fitzgerald, who said that they can get the job done. But we shall see. We're going to reset the tournament bracket here in a moment now that we're down to 16 teams. The other story that I mentioned, the story about F. King Alexander resigning. That's just proof, man. Anytime that you have anything where something is going to happen as far as sexual misconduct goes, it's going to come back and bite you. Out to the phones. Here we go. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, man. I heard you talking about Deshaun Watson.
Yes, sir.
We got President of the United States accused of that.
That's
the
true.
Last president of the United States was accused of that. Bill Clinton was accused of that. We got the governor in New York accused of that.
Yes, sir. Good point.
It's almost to the point now, if you're a man, you better not be in a room alone with a woman unless there's a camera running.
I try not to get into any room with any woman unless it's my wife or my daughters. Because
you better make sure it stays that way.
Exactly.
But who knows if it's true? Who knows if it's not true? I don't think we'll ever know, and his reputation will take a hit, no doubt about that. But there's some people that are going to be Deshaun Watson fans to the end, and some aren't. But I got another question to ask you.
Sure. What you got?
Who do you think is going to be the most important person on offense for South Carolina, and who's the most important person on defense for South Carolina this coming year?
Well, on the offensive side of the ball, whoever gets to start at quarterback would make the most sense. But in my opinion, it's got to be Dakereon Joyner. And Joyner, because South Carolina needs wide receivers. And I truly believe in Coach Josh Stepp. I think Coach Josh Stepp is outstanding. If you want to go back and look at Arkansas and where their wide receivers were compared to where they are now last season when he was down there coaching them, the fact that Shane Beamer was able to get him here is outstanding. And I know he's coming home and all that, but the reality is that we've always heard that Dakereon Joyner is a heck of an athlete. If you watch his stuff when he was at Fort Dorchester, I believe it was, he could move all over the field and do everything. If Coach Stepp can take that athletic ability and turn him into a good wide receiver, just where he's at SEC caliber. I'm not talking about being a guy that's going to win the Heisman. I'm talking about being a 1A or 1B option for whoever is at quarterback. I think that is number one there. The running game is going to be fine. We could talk about the offensive line. We could talk about the tight ends, but I think it's Dakereon Joyner. And if it were me, if he doesn't take over that 1A, 1B, 1C spot, it would surprise me if he didn't transfer. That's just me.
Is Dottie good enough to make him, a number one wide receiver?
You mean Doty?
Doty.
I don't know if I don't know much about Doty throwing the ball, because last year it seemed like he was almost just dodging bullets all year. Now, and a lot of that may have had to do with the offense that they had. But to be honest, I think I think the young man that transferred in from St. Francis may get a shot because he's more the typical drop back passer. He's also a bigger kid. But from what we've also heard, Doty's been doing everything he needs to do in the training room and everything else. So, he may be able to do that, but getting Doty protected and letting him have the ability to throw is a big deal. But you got to have that one guy on.
And how about
offense.
Birch? I mean, will Birch take a step up? Because it seemed like last year he didn't really do anything.
Well, Birch had 19 tackles last year in his first year in. And let's be honest, he played at Hammond, which no disrespect to Hammond, but it is a private school. So he played there. Now stepping up to play in the SEC is huge. And he came in, he had 19 tackles. The Gamecocks, though, didn't have, but I think they had 14 sacks on the year. So Birch is important because he has to take that next step, and they have to, and he even said this in his comments yesterday, his ability to get to the quarterback is what the new defensive coordinator wants to do. And they're going to try to put pressure on the quarterback. And Birch is an athlete, man. I think that he could have that breakout season. It could be one of the more important parts of the defense.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much. You guys are right over there on that. Tom says, I'm sleeping on Ortre Smith. Yeah, I know. But guys that opted out for me, it's kind of hard for me to get behind her, to be completely honest. Brock says that I swear every time Dakereon had the ball last year, he scored. Yeah, and then EJ Jenkins is the guy that Tom Brady's talking about over here in the chat. The only thing I worry about with him is that he hasn't played at the SEC level. I know that Dakereon Joyner is an SEC caliber athlete. And when he gets the ball in space, look out. I just don't think they put him in positions where he could actually utilize his talents. And a lot of that goes back to Muschamp and the offense that was there before. And, we can say that Muschamp's gone, but Muschamp never had an offense that ranked 8th or higher than 8th in the SEC in any of his coaching jobs. So we can blame a lot of that on Muschamp and the staffs that he had. But I think it's Dakereon Joyner, in my opinion. That's a great question. Take a quick break. When we come back, we got to reset the field. And I got to eat a bunch of crow about some stuff I said about Alabama. Stand by for that. More of the rundown in just a moment. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys think I'm wrong on that? I think it's Joyner. I really do. I really think it's Joyner. So, and on defense, you can go with Birch, but the secondary, Roderick, Roderick may be an interesting pick there too. Yeah, that's exactly right. Why not run sweeps and everything with him? Line him up and let him go. He's not afraid to take a hit. I mean, it's not like he's, not like he's scared to get popped. He's not scared of that. Run him over the middle. Let him do some stuff, man. Birch, by the way, I got to watch him play in high school, and man, he's special. I mean, I was stunned by the way that he was, by the way he played last year. Not that it was bad. I think it was more of a freshman type thing too. Like he was not quite, not quite ready. I don't know. As far as all the physical attributes, he's got them. And I think Pickens is the same way. I think Zach Pickens can be an absolute animal. Those two give Coach White something to work with, man. I really do. I don't know, man. I think so. That's a mess. Well, welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Around the world on the iHeart Radio app. Shout out to Tom saying, I'm forgetting about Ngabare. Yes, my fault. My fault. I forgot about him. On defense, yes. That's a big deal. You're right. I think he was one of the top leaders in the SEC in sacks. So, yeah, there's that. If you want to call up and talk about Deshaun Watson, we played the clip earlier from Coach Dabo Sweeney, who basically said, hey, Deshaun Watson's my son. We'll wait and see how things shake out. We'll take calls on that as well at 803-978-1832. I'm going to reset the tournament field here after the break, but I have to put this out there. I said Alabama would not make it to the Sweet 16. Now, unlike some other hosts and people who do radio and everything else, they won't come back and say, hey, I screwed up on something. They just expect you to just, forget about it. And because they have a microphone in front of their face, they want you to think that they're smarter than you are. When I'm wrong, I will come out and absolutely tell you I was absolutely wrong. I did not think Alabama, with the offense that they run, where they rely on a lot of three-point shots, would have the capability to get to the Sweet 16. And what did Alabama do? Alabama made me look stupid. No shame with that. They got to the first round matchup where they played Iona. They almost got Rick Pitino to a very close game. But they win that game by 13. They beat Maryland, the 10 seed, who beat UConn earlier in the tournament. They beat Maryland by 19. They move on into the Sweet 16. Now, with the way things are, UCLA seems to be battle tested. Okay? But of the four teams that are left in that region, I rank Alabama at number 2. So, not that I'm being disrespectful to Alabama. It's just I have more confidence in my number 1 pick in that region. So we'll talk about that when we come back and we reset the field. But you got to give it up for Alabama. They went out there and they played basically the same way they played before. They're going to shoot threes, and it's like they play well in spurts. They'll have like the LSU first couple of games are the best example. When they played LSU, they started out, I think the first game they hit like 8 threes in a row or some ridiculous number like that. And ended up blowing out LSU in the first 2 games. But I honestly think they play well in spurts. But in the NCAA tournament, I think they were challenged a little bit by Iona. But if you watched that game, and I watched that game from beginning to end, Coach Pitino, even though he does look like Skeletor, he did a lot of things to mess with the flow for Alabama. Not that they were playing dirty, but he called his timeouts. Anytime they'd get into a flow, he would make them stop. Timeouts, he would foul, all kinds of things. Now, he just didn't have the athletes to beat the Crimson Tide. Now, other teams will eventually. And whoever is matching up with Alabama, that's the way to beat them. You keep stopping the game. Slow them down by any means possible. And that's the way you got to do it. But we're going to reset the bracket when we come back. We'll tell you some spots where I just ate it, to be completely honest with you. My bracket is terrible. Absolutely terrible. But we're going to reset it and try to look smart. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832 is the number to call. This is The Rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. That's a solid comment there, SEC dog. I don't think that nun knows where she is half the time. Bless her heart, but I don't think she knows what planet she's on. She's just kind of sitting up there like, I'm like, my goodness, man. No, SEC fans don't, or Georgia fans don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about South Carolina last time they came into their house. Beat them with Will Muschamp as their head coach. What a disaster that was. I think with that loss and the fact that they had your quarterback that probably will win the Heisman this year as the 4th stringer coming into the season means Kirby Smart should have been fired. Wait. You had JT Daniels as your 4th string quarterback coming into the season? Stetson freaking Bennett as the quarterback? Okay. Not buying it, ladies and gentlemen. Well, welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. We want to make sure your stimulus is even better by doubling it. 6 chances for you to win another $1,400 check. Listen for the nationwide keyword to text and win instantly. For more info, go to foxsportsradio1400.com and click the contest tab, and you can get the cue to text. There we go. All right, resetting the NCAA tournament. When I look at my bracket, here's what I thought was the way things were going to go. I didn't bring my bracket in here. I can remember most of it. Look, we'll start at the top. I know that I had UC Santa Barbara beating Creighton. So, yeah, we'll get into that. Let's take the phone call first. And welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, I was listening through the break. I'm not sure how many of your listeners get to listen through the break there, but I just reject the whole Kirby Smart's an idiot with the quarterback deal, and I don't understand the reference to the one time, I think in the last 6 years, South Carolina beats Georgia. I've never heard a game referenced more in my life.
Maybe
than
that's
the one
because
time
maybe
they beat
that's
Georgia
because
in
it's
6 years.
absolutely inexcusable to lose to that team at home when you're a 17-point favorite, and you should be reminded of that if you're a coach.
Like the Syracuse loss with Clemson?
Absolutely. You should be reminded of that as a coach.
So you're going to throw out the playoff appearance. I mean, all that stuff. You just said during the break that Kirby Smart should be fired.
He should have been, in my opinion, you should be gone.
You should have your microphone yanked.
I truly believe that simply because the loss to South Carolina should not have happened. The fact that Justin Fields left the program, the situation with Jake Fromm, and the situation where JT Daniels is your fourth stringer, it seems to me that Kirby Smart has no idea how to develop and deal with quarterbacks. You can't win without a great quarterback.
Justin Fields came just as close to winning a national title at Ohio State, which is loaded, by the way, as Jake Fromm did at Georgia. When he got into the big games, he did not play well, and Justin Fields did not play well at Georgia when he was in the game.
Sure. But in your opinion, Jake Fromm's great, and that's the way that you should have went.
Who said that? When did you hear that?
You just said Jake Fromm did basically the same things that Justin Fields did, right? So in your mind, you think that Jake Fromm's is equal to Justin Fields, right?
Never said he did the same thing.
Okay, then we're not.
What I said was he came just as close to winning a national title at Georgia as Justin Fields did at Ohio State. He played bad when it counted. That's just a fact.
Okay. I
don't understand this notion that had Kirby Smart had an IQ above 4, he would have started Justin Fields and we'd have 3 national titles right now. It just doesn't add up.
I never said that. So I don't know where you're coming up with that. I mean, I think that with the issues that he's had at quarterback and that loss, the loss to Texas, that was just, it looked like the team didn't even show up for that game. That's just my opinion. Hey, I mean, I can be wrong. I'm wrong on lots of things.
I haven't heard Kirby Smart should be fired in a while.
I can show you several Georgia fans who were thinking the same thing. If you'd like me to send you tweets, feel free to follow me. Rob Sounds Good. I'll send them to you.
I'll feel free to call you after we play you in Charlotte. Are you going to be on the radio then? Are you going to show up the next day?
What are you talking about? You think I'm going to quit my job? Are you out of your mind?
Possibly. If you think Kirby Smart should be fired,
I think Kirby Smart should be fired. I think Kirby Smart should have been fired. For everything that he's done at Georgia. Just
for everything he's done at Georgia, the playoff win,
and all of that. He's had the number 1 recruiting class for 4 years in a row, and you can't win the national title. You lost to Dan Mullen at Florida this year when you had the better team on the field, but you had your quarterback sitting as like the 4th-string guy, the guy who may win the Heisman this year. Yeah, he's 4th-string.
He has not had the number 1 recruiting class in the last 4 years.
According to certain sites, he's had it at least 3 years, and you've been in the top 5 for Lord only knows how many years.
Right, but there's other teams that
you admit that you have an ultra talented team, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you have an ultra talented team
and our
can't
record
beat
reflects
Georgia.
That, by the way.
That can't beat Texas in a bowl game, and you can't beat South Carolina at home when you're 17-point favorite.
The whole thing with JT Daniels, you keep coming back to that. Guys, if you listen to Todd Monken's comments just before the bowl, he kind of let the cat out of the bag with the fact that JT Daniels came to the coaching staff and said, look, I'm not quite ready. There is no way, and I know what Kirby Smart said. He says some things that are weird when it comes to protecting the truth. I have no idea what he's thinking there.
You're saying that he's a liar? Is that what you're saying as far as protecting the truth? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay. Well, then what do you mean by protecting the truth? Please educate me.
I should say, you know what? I misspoke there, Perry Mason. I should say protecting the player, but anyway.
I mean, you use the words, buddy. I'm just going by what you said to me, man.
as I was you before, and then you
Sure.
were denying what you had just
No,
said.
no. I've stood by what I said. Kirby Smart should be fired for the things that have happened at Georgia.
You're telling me you think that coach
Mm-hmm.
who's getting paid gazillions of money of whatever dollars a year,
Yep,
honestly thought that the little 5'4" hobbit out there was a better choice than a somewhat healthy JT Daniels? That he looked around and said, you know what, that's my guy.
Yeah, but
you don't think maybe there was an issue
he put him on the field. I didn't ask him to do that. He put him on the field.
He
put the Hobbit on the field, not me.
You don't think there was a reason JT Daniels wasn't starting
he should put it out
the
there
majority?
so that we would know.
Because he owes it to you?
No, he owes it to the Georgia
man.
fan base, not me. You think the Georgia fan base doesn't want to know the boosters that get millions of dollars to the program? They don't deserve to know why you put a Hobbit on the field to play? You don't think they deserve that?
Well, first of all, the guy who transferred in and was supposed to be the starter opted out before the season.
Right, with Jamie Newman, and that's fair.
JT Daniels had to have an unexpected surgery. He had to get his knee cleaned up, and he clearly was not comfortable yet. And now I am admitting this to you. Kirby Smart kind of made his own bed with the comments that he made.
Right.
That JT Daniels was cleared. But when you listen to Todd Monken before that game, and I know you have no interest in that because it's going to shoot down what you're saying, but he said he came to us and told us, hey, I'm not quite ready yet. Let me run with the scout team. Okay. But no one talks about that.
Fair enough, man.
He came out and said it. And there's no way. There's not a high school coach in America who would choose Stetson Bennett over a healthy JT Daniels. There's just no way. You cannot tell me he's that stupid.
He put him out on the field, sir. I don't think
listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. He put him
on the field, sir.
Yes, he put him on the field.
Okay.
What I'm saying is there's no way he would choose him over a healthy JT. There's no way.
They would have been better off going with Will Muschamp's son. He would have been better than Stetson Bennett.
Obviously not.
Obviously, maybe. What did Stetson Bennett do for you?
How many Stetson? He won quite a few games. He beat the crap out of South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
JT Daniels played against South Carolina, sir.
I'm thinking of who am I thinking of?
You got to
Auburn. Same type program is why I was confused there.
Oh, okay. Auburn. I don't think Auburn's is right where South Carolina is, but hey, man,
South Carolina's a better program than Auburn. South Carolina's better than Auburn. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I think Auburn's better than South Carolina. That's what I was implying.
Right. And Stetson Bennett beat him. But apparently Will Muschamp's son would have taken us to the national title.
I never said he would never take them to the national title, but good effort there, buddy. See, people get upset when you put things out there. It's a mess. Let's take one more call. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Well done, my friend. I am very proud of you.
For what?
For standing up to, I'm not going to call him a moron. I'm going to tell you this, Rob Sanders. I don't care how big your hammer is, you can't beat common sense into fools. And one thing I just told you, I appreciate you, and you stood up to him. You buried him when he fell in the hole. You threw the dirt on top of him because he made a few mess. You were stating facts. I agree with you, Kirby Smart. I agree with all the things you're saying. You can't argue with these people, Rob. You can't convince fools.
Now, no name calling now. We don't have to call names. But yeah, it's just funny to me that certain people that support Kirby Smart can think that he can do absolutely no wrong. Why not hold his feet to the fire on that stuff? If you have top 5 talent, you should win at least the East. You shouldn't have Dan Mullen beating your ass down in Jacksonville. That shouldn't happen.
I just said I agreed with you. You are dead. You're right on top of it, man.
Yeah, man.
You got it. You got the facts. You got it. They can't accept it, Rob.
All right, brother. Well, hey, man, thanks for calling the show, buddy. We appreciate it.
I'm out of here. I'm gone. Later for you.
All right, buddy. Look, it's not a thing against Kirby Smart. It's just that I think that when you have that kind of talent and you have basically whatever kind of budget that you need, and You've got guys that are going to the draft. You got NFL players. You shouldn't lose games like that. Shouldn't lose games like the South Carolina game. You shouldn't look silly at Texas, where poor Uga almost got killed by the Texas mascot. Things like that shouldn't happen. One more call before we get out of here. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
How you doing, Rob?
Hey, buddy. How are you? Are you calling to yell
How's
at me
your
about Kirby Smart? Because that's fine.
Kirby Smart's an idiot.
There you go.
There you go. I mean, he played a true freshman for one half and then put the other guy in. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I got a question about the basketball brackets here.
Sure.
Blew mine up. Mine's gone. The men's bracket was gone. So I took a shot last night at filling out the women's bracket.
Yeah.
I know that half of them have already played. I'm the worst picker in the world because I picked 3 losers last night.
Right.
In the women's tournament.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, what I would do is I would pick chalk, meaning take the higher seeds because those seeds generally win.
I did.
Go. Oh, and the higher
I
seeds
picked
lost?
all of them.
I would
3
pick-
of them.
I would pick the number 1 seeds to make the Final Four and then just pick backwards from there, because I think that they
Clemson-
seed that thing so well when it comes to the women.
Will Clemson ever make it out of the first round of the tournament?
Under Brad
In my
Brownell,
lifetime-
I'm beginning to think no.
I'm
I'm beginning
50.
to think
Will I
no.
see it?
No,
I won't see it.
no.
I mean, I could not believe that game. They could not buy a basket.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just pathetic shooting. It was, it was Sims or it was nothing.
Well, and here's the thing. For next season, Sims is gone. Clyde
He's
Trapp
gone.
is gone. John Newman III is transferred.
They're transferring.
So come about the second week of November, when we're all entrenched into football season, they're going to have the nice little golf challenge they have every year with Coach Brad Brownell. And he's going to tell us, well, I don't really have the talent that I've had before. And this is going to be kind of a rebuilding year. And he's going to expect Clemson folks to just say, oh, well, it's okay. Go 4-12 in the ACC. It doesn't really matter. Did you see the football team? They were awesome. That's basically what it's going to be.
does Clemson have to go to Tennessee? Because I see Tennessee wanting to get rid of their coach.
Well,
Do we bring him back?
Coach Barnes did say that he didn't want his kids being brought up in South Carolina. Now, I don't know. His kids may be graduated now. Maybe he can dull some of that and come back. I don't know. But me personally, they're not going to get rid of Brad Brownell, so I'm not going to.
You don't think so?
No. They took him to the NCAA tournament this year. That's
God.
Yeah, it's not.
At least our
it's not worth
softball
the
team
time.
is ranked.
Softball team is doing very well.
That's what we have now.
And the football team's good too. Come on now.
And the football team's good too. But I mean, every year I go to the basketball games. We have to travel 3.5 hours to get there.
Right.
We have to spend the night, and your hopes are built up because they look so good, and then they look like they've never played a game in their life.
Well, we could talk more about that later on, man. But I appreciate it. But I got to get to a break though.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye. One more call before we hit that break. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
Please forgive me, double
Come on, man. You only got,
Hey,
I'll give you 20
I had
seconds.
to say
Go.
it. I got to say it. Hey, I called Lawton Show before the NC bracket, before the tournament started. I said BB, one and done. I'm done. Goodbye.
Everybody else said that Brad Brownell was one and done. I've got a room full of people in the chat that thought that they were going to get hammered. Apparently, I was the only idiot that put them in the Sweet 16. That will never happen again. More of the Rundown in just a moment. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. I have no way of knowing who's calling on this phone system. So otherwise, that wouldn't have worked out well. Losing to LSU by 3 touchdowns. Yeah. You did tell me that, Trevor. You're absolutely right. I do not want a massage. I'm working on our engineers to get me something where I can actually see what numbers are calling, so I don't have to take the same color twice. No. I love the passion of you Georgia fans, man. I mean, I know Dabo Swinney sucks in all of your eyes, but, you know, he's won 2 national titles in 5 years. You haven't won 1 in 40, but, you know, Dabo Swinney's terrible. Dabo Swinney's absolutely awful. And I love the ones that tell me Kirby Smart's better. No, he's not. No, he's not. The national titles show that, but I think so. I think the Gamecock women are really good on the softball front there, Brock. Clemson may come back down to reality. Clemson's been playing a bunch of bums, Rock. And they won like 16 straight, but not on this phone, Tom. The way they wire it's. I could explain it, but it would take too much time. Well, welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Still taking calls about. I said something during the break that the online folks heard that I thought Kirby Smart should be fired. And I stand behind that. Caller took me to task on it. It's not like I say things and I don't just say, all right, that shouldn't happen. Anyway, interesting stuff there with that. All right, so resetting the tournament bracket because I've only got about 3 minutes here. Gonzaga and Creighton, the 1 and 5 seed. Creighton has made me look stupid all tournament, even though they beat UC Santa Barbara by 1. I think UC Santa Barbara, if they'd have been in another bracket, then they would have probably advanced farther. But give me Gonzaga for the win there. Southern Cal and Oregon, man, the Pac-12 has been really good in this tournament. What do they got? They got like 4 of the Sweet 16. Pretty impressive. I'm going to take Southern Cal, though, because they really look really, really strong. And they beat Kansas by, 5 touchdowns last night. There's that, too. Michigan and Florida State. Florida State wins. Florida State is too deep. They run 11 guys out there. And I'm not impressed by Michigan at all. Number 11, UCLA, and number 2 seed Alabama. I think that Alabama wins. And then Florida State clocks them in the Elite Eight. Baylor and Villanova, the 1 versus 5 there. I had Villanova losing in the first round. I'm going with Baylor. Still not buying what Jay Wright's doing up there. Arkansas and Oral Roberts. Arkansas is going to roll in that game. They're an 11.5 point favorite according to Las Vegas. I think the Cinderella run ends for the Sunday School Oral Roberts. Loyola Chicago and Oregon State, an 8-12 matchup. Man, that's a tough one to pick there, but you know, I'm with what the chat room said earlier. Sister Mary or Sister Jean doing her thing up there, 101 years old. It's like they can't lose. So give me Loyola Chicago to win there. And then Syracuse and Houston, I'm going with the Qs. Yep, Buddy Boeheim out there shooting threes. And all of a sudden, hey, man, that matchup zone that nobody gets to see and nobody gets to prepare for is wreaking havoc. So we'll keep track of that, and we'll see how I do. My bracket, I had 6 of the Sweet 16. Let's see how many of the Elite 8 I get. Probably not many. We'll be down to 4. Maybe I'll give my Elite 8 picks on Friday after I do a little more research on them. But yeah, there's that. All right, so tomorrow we'll get back at it. We got several things in the works. There are no perfect brackets left. Thank you, Tom, for that. Everyone is their brackets are all toast. I mean, I think my bracket's like at 34% or something. It's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. As always, you can find the podcast for this show. Go to the iHeartRadio app, look for the Rundown with Rob Sanders. It's also on iTunes, Stitcher, everywhere else you could possibly get a podcast. We've also got, you can watch the live show every day, of course, the Fox Sports Radio page. Go there on the Facebook page. Check that out. Blog page is also up at foxsportsradio1400.com. We also have Teddy Hefner in the mornings on 9 to noon. And my buddy Lawton Swan.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Yeah, he's here with you every day from 4 to 6 with Clemson Sports Talk, the vast Clemson Sports Talk Radio Network. Of course, the crown jewel right here at Fox Sports Radio 1400. Also on 100.1, The Fan in Florence, 9:20 a.m. in Manning. And, of course, anywhere on the planet via the iHeartRadio app. Doesn't matter where you are. You can listen to my show or Lawton's show simply by pulling it up there. So you're never too far away. All right, tomorrow we'll have I've got some more interesting stuff tomorrow. Deion Sanders said something I didn't get to. We'll get to that tomorrow and a lot more. Thanks for checking out the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys are funny. Appreciate y'all, man. We'll see you guys later on.